When you think about innovation in schools, you probably think of what? New tech, cutting edge curricula? Well, in California's public education system, there's a different kind of revolution happening. It's a network of schools that's looking to the past to educate the leaders of the future. Today, we're doing a deep dive into the John Adams Academy.
So, how are we digging into this? Well, our guide for this explainer is a really in-depth article from Shasta Unfiltered. They did all the legwork, giving us a fantastic, comprehensive look at the Academy, its unique model, and, its place in the wider world of education.
And honestly, this quote from the school's namesake, John Adams himself, just nails their whole vibe. Let us dare to read, think, speak, and write. It's not about just cramming facts, right? It's about fostering the courage to actually think for yourself. And that idea, well, that's the bedrock of everything they do there.
All right, so let's get into it. What is at the heart of John Adams Academy? It's this idea of reviving the classical education. But here's the kicker. It's got a modern twist, it's public, and it's tuition-free. So the big question is, how do they even pull that off? Okay, first things first, John Adams Academy is a public charter school network, and that's the key. It means it's publicly funded, so it's totally tuition-free for any student, from transitional kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. They've got several campuses in Northern California, and they offer a genuine alternative for families who are looking for something different. And, the way it all started is actually pretty inspiring. This wasn't some top-down thing from a huge organization. Nope, it was a total grassroots movement, fueled by parents and volunteers, that brought that very first campus to life back in 2011. That's a powerful start. Okay, so we've got the what and the how. Now let's get into the why. Let's talk about the nitty-gritty of the school's core philosophy. What are the specific principles that make this place so different? So at the very heart of the Academy is this model they call American Classical Leadership Education. And what does that mean? Well, forget your standard textbooks. Here, the students, who they actually call scholars, they go straight to the primary sources, the great works of Western civilization. Through Socratic discussions, they learn how to think critically. The whole goal is to teach them how to think, not just what to think. Big difference. And it's not just about the brainy stuff. That intellectual rigor is paired with a huge focus on character. You can see their 10 core values right here, and these are not just words on a wall. Values like personal ownership and selfless service are woven into absolutely everything, from classroom discussions to student leadership. The goal is to cultivate both virtue and excellence. Okay, so the philosophy sounds pretty compelling, right? But what about the results? How does all this actually translate when you look at the numbers? Let's put the Academy side by side with traditional California public schools. Well, when it comes to academic results, the numbers, they're pretty telling. Based on the state's own assessment scores, the Roseville campus outperforms the California average in both English and math. We're talking about 56% proficiency in English compared to the state's 47 to 50%, and 39% in math versus the state average of 35 to 38%. And the curriculum is probably one of the biggest points of difference. While a lot of public schools are incorporating more progressive and modern topics into their lessons, John Adams Academy stays laser-focused on its classical, primary source-driven curriculum. Now, on some of the more sensitive issues, the Academy navigates a pretty careful path. For sex education, they comply with California law, but they make it very clear that parents can easily opt their kids out. There's just no curricular focus on gender identity. And in sports, while the school community supports teams based on biological sex, they have to adhere to state law as a public school, which allows participation by gender identity. Okay, so we've covered the philosophy, the policies, but what's it actually like to be a part of this community? What's the lived experience? First up, getting in. Because it's a public school, the whole process is designed to be fair and open to everyone. If there are more applicants than spots in a particular grade, a public lottery is held to determine admission. It's as straightforward as that. Now, this is a really important point. This is not a drop your kids off and forget it kind of school. The Academy operates on what they call a parent-heavy model. Active involvement is expected, from volunteering to engaging with the curriculum at home. This partnership between the school and the family is seen as absolutely essential to their success. And here's an interesting detail that applies to their online campus. So, California has strict vaccine laws for in-person schooling, but an exception exists for home-based independent study programs. JA's online program falls into this category, which means families who enroll online aren't required to submit immunization records. It just offers another layer of flexibility.
So, if this model shows positive results and is in high demand, that leads to a pretty obvious question, right? Why isn't it more common? Let's zoom out and look at the broader landscape to find out.
Right, this is the big one. What are the challenges that are keeping schools like John Adams Academy from becoming a more widespread option across the state?
Well, the hurdles are pretty significant. You need specialized teacher training to do this right. You have to navigate the usual funding challenges and the political pushback that charter schools often face. And on top of all that, the growth of charter schools in California has just slowed down dramatically. It's a tough environment to thrive in.
I mean, take Shasta County, for example. There are a number of charter schools there, but not a single one fully replicates this classical, Socratic model of John Adams Academy. The focus tends to be on STEM or personalized learning, which just goes to show you how unique the JAA approach really is.
So as we start to wrap this up, seeing a picture of the campus itself kind of grounds these big ideas in a physical reality, doesn't it? This isn't just some abstract theory. It's a living, breathing educational environment where thousands of students are learning every single day.
And that really leaves us with a fundamental question. The existence of a school like John Adams Academy really forces us to ask, what is the right balance between timeless principles and modern progress in education? It's a question worth pondering.